Hello there. I think it's fair to say that the weather doesn't look and feel much like summer at the moment. These were some pictures taken on Friday. It was particularly windy in the southwest of England, and we actually had more rain in Cornwall on Friday than fell during the whole of last month. And we had rain far and wide across the UK as well.
We've seen those extraordinary temperatures on the continent. It's time now for a look with Helen at the weather. Feeling very different here in the UK.
Oh, absolutely chalk and cheese, Sarah, isn't it? Good morning to you. Yes, this weekend here in the UK, it's going to be unseasonably windy, and that brings with it big concerns. Large waves behind me from yesterday. There'll be some really intense downpours today, and as a result, it'll stay cool. Temperatures a little bit below average, but much needed rainfall yesterday. We had nearly 90 millimetres in parts of Cornwall. You can see for many, there was a lot of rainfall around. The wind directions are slight northwesterly for Scotland and Northern Ireland tomorrow. I think temperatures will be a degree or so down once again. So what about into next week? Well, slightly less windy, but we do have another area of low pressure coming in. So there will be further showers or longer spells of rain. And again, it doesn't look as if we're going to tap into that heat, that intense heat that we're seeing across Europe. So for our main cities across the UK, as you can see, into next week, we keep temperatures probably into the low 20s for London, but around about average for most parts. But as you've been seeing, of course, on the news, it is getting hotter again across the western side of Europe. And I'll have more on that through the morning.
People might find it strange, having heard those extreme temperatures not too far away, but so different here in Britain.
I know, it really is, Sarah. A completely different setup. We've got low pressures rushing in off the Atlantic here in the UK. The jet stream's really quite strong, and it's stopping the northward movement of that heat towards the UK. But it is pushing north across parts of Poland, Austria, potentially Germany, and right the way up into parts of Scandinavia at the moment. But here, choppy seas, and we've got some really quite nasty weather to come for the time of year, that is. Now, let's move on through those charts. Let's just take a quick look at Europe here, because it has been hot. Those were the sort of temperatures we had yesterday, 44 in Bodrum in Turkey. This is what's going to happen. That's the heat at the moment in eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see not so much heat at the moment, but as we move through time, we're going to see that heat building from Africa. It's all coming out of the north of Africa. It's been extreme heat here for several weeks, but look at that across eastern and central Spain, pushing into central and western parts of the Mediterranean. But here, as I say, we've got some rather choppy conditions, unusually windy weather for the time of year, intense and at times thundery downpours, and so it will stay feeling cool, even though temperatures are around about average.
Helen, there would have been a time on a Wimbledon finals day when we would have said, oh, I hope the sun's going to shine for them, but of course they've got a lid, so it doesn't really matter all that much, does it? Although it would be nicer.
It would, and I suppose by finals day it doesn't matter, but earlier in this week and even last week it really was obviously quite important. But we've got lots of showers today, Charlie and Sarah. We've got really strong winds as well for the time of year. Lots of puddles here in Sussex this morning. So that's really the setup for the weekend, really, is that it's going to be quite windy and it's going to be showery, basically, more like autumn.
It is true that in Wimbledon, Centre Court has a roof, so weather not quite so important. But Helen, there's a lot of people on Henman Hill who'll be want to watch it, so are they going to get wet?
I'm afraid they are going to get wet, and the cricket's not great news either. These are the shower clouds brewing behind me, St David's in Pembrokeshire, a sign of what's to come. And the devil's going to be in the detail today.
Helen, that's a beautiful seascape behind you, but some rather choppy looking waves.
Yes, the combination, isn't it there, Sarah? Hello to you both and good morning. We are in for some really unseasonable weather this weekend. I mean, it was with us yesterday. We had a month's worth of rain in some places, nearly 90 millimetres of rain, and we're not going to tap into that heat that we're seeing, that intense heat, another wave of which is going to encompass many parts of Iberia, southern and western parts of Europe into next week. It's relentless, really. Temperatures by night barely dipping below 30 degrees Celsius.